19th to order. Please stand and join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Roll call, please. Thanks.
Mayor Allison.
Here.
Tom Baylor. Here. Kathy Sherman.
Here.
Jeff Guard.
Yeah, no problem.
Here.
Melina Meyer. Here. Ann Schaefer is absent. Kristen Carpenter. Here. And Ken Jones is absent. That's a quorum of council.
Okay. The agenda. Approve the agenda.
Second.
The second to approve the agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Disclosures of conflicts of interest and ex parte communications.
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilmember Guard. I'd like to declare a conflict of interest on item 6.
Okay. I can agree with that. Anybody else? Okay, hearing none then, communications by petitions from visitors. Moving speakers. So audience comments regarding agenda items.
Thank you, Dave. My name is Robert Beal, 609 Spruce Street. I'm the city's rep for RCAC, and there's summary of what happened for the last meeting here. We don't meet often enough to make a regular appearance on the agenda and stuff, but I thought since I was here and don't appear very often that if there was any questions or comments or that just let you know I'm here, and I would be willing to help get answers or answer it or whatever. But, and if you haven't read it, when you do, if there's something, give me a shout. Be happy to answer questions. And then I think the next packet, there's the RCAC's position on disbursements, which is a real controversial cleaning up oil. It's a tool in the toolbox. It hasn't proven itself. So anyway, if you can't sleep, try and read that. But if there's any questions or anything, I'll be glad to answer. And thank you.
Okay, thanks, Robert. Other audience comments? Several staff members here, but I don't believe there's anybody else going to come speak. So chairpersons or representatives of boards and commissions. Anybody from CCMC, Authority Board online? About the school board. Okay, Mr. Mayor? Yes.
Yeah, I've got an issue for the CCMCA. We don't have a representative. We have to pass on the concern to the city manager and maybe get an answer or question later. But it's been brought to my attention, Helen, that from somebody that lives within view of it, the helipad on that hospital basically being used as a parking lot. And there was some concern about whether that should be happening or not. You know how I was hoping somebody from this hospital to be here, but perhaps you could get an answer to that and get back to us on.
What was the concern that?
Well, they got a helipad over there,
Right.
and they're basically it's being used as a parking lot quite often.
So the concern is that there might be that it's being inappropriately used?
Correct.
Okay.
Right. It needs to be left empty in case there is an emergency or something coming in. So that was a concern. So I assume employees are parking. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Moving from the school board. So next item there is a highlight from the September RCAC meeting. Information in there. We don't have a student council rep yet.
We do, we have a rep, and he's supposed to be, reporting for the next meeting, so
Okay.
we're in touch.
Okay, perfect. Okay, the consent calendar is before you. I'm gonna assume item 6 needs to be taken out, and we're gonna put that in under item L. I'm gonna move 6 to item L. Anything else on the consent calendar?
So on the rest of the consent calendar, 5, 7, and 8, Melina Meyer,
Yes.
Kristen Carpenter. Yes. Tom Baylor,
Yes.
Jeff Guard,
Yes.
Kathy Sherman,
Yes.
and Jones and Schaefer are absent, but the consent calendar is approved.
Okay, thank you. The minutes were in the consent calendar. We don't have any bids or contracts, so we'll move along to report of officers. Mayor's report. Friday the 28th, just a couple weeks ago, there was Ben Vincent. I think he's running for representative against Schutz. He was here. He's from Seward. He's just chatting, seeing what things are. He knows he doesn't have, or didn't think he had much chance in Cordova, but he was here getting our thoughts, and either way, he's going to work for the good of the area. So that was a good talk. Friday the 28th at 9 a.m. Jessica Cook, I believe, is running for Lieutenant Governor with Les Gara. She is going to be at City Hall to meet with me and whoever else wants to sit in on that. That's the 28th at 9 a.m. here at City Hall. Several other meetings, AFDF, Exxon Valley's oil spill trustee, had meetings recently. I've had a few commission inquiries. I think the deadline on those is next month. When is the deadline on the commission? Anyway,
It's a ways out.
yeah, it's coming up. So if anybody's interested in any of those commissions, we get several seats on several different commissions, advisory boards coming open. Susan's probably got it in her thing, but the AML meeting for November, if we do have you don't have to register yet. The early bird deadline is the November 18th. But if we want to submit any resolutions, they're due the 28th of this month. And the Prince William Sound director is open this year. There's like 6 directors open positions. So if anybody's interested in serving on as an AML director, feel free to stick your name in the hat. Or if you're interested in the legislative committee, that is appointed by the incoming president. That was on that in 92 or something like that. Legislative committee working on legislative issues for AML. And coming up, November 14th is the community needs health assessment that they did. They're having the prioritization meeting with several key people, and I was invited to sit in on that forum. It's obviously open to the public, but that's November 14th from 4 to 7 p.m. Somewhere in the Cordova Center. I'm not sure which room, maybe the education room. I'm not positive where, but we've got a couple more, or at least one more meeting before that happens. I'll get details on that. And anybody want to submit something to the Symphony of Seafood? That deadline is the 21st of October. If you've got fancy recipe you want to submit. That deadline's coming up too, so anybody interested in that, get your name in. Several Cordova organizations have won that award in the past, so it's good. Good for your business and good for the town. That's all I really had for report, unless you have any questions. Okay, city manager's report.
Thank you. There is a written report on page 33 of your packet. What I really want to just draw your attention to is that we're knee deep, neck deep, nose deep in the budget process. Next week, we have scheduled our first budget workshop with all of you, and on the pending agenda, I think we'll discuss what time of day we want to do that. The audit is complete, obviously, and there's a lot of work to be done. But next week we'll do a budget work session on revenue and really dig into that to kind of see what the basis is for how we can adjust or prepare our budget for next year. I don't know, Sam, did you have some updates for the harbor? We'd love to. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
You're going to do it?
Yeah.
I won't steal it.
Okay. Well, before the harbor update, let me introduce Colin Bronson, who some of you may know from his former stint here as commander of the Fur and the Sycamore vessels. He just retired from the Coast Guard, was in sunny San Diego, I believe, and decided to retire here in Cordova. And we're very, very fortunate to have him agree to and be interested in working with us. So I have him as a special projects director here, and what that means is anytime we need somebody who really knows what he's doing on the ground and we need some extra hands, we engage Colin, which brings us to the harbor project. He's going to be the on-the-ground project person working with our project manager, who is based in Seattle and will be here off and on. Colin will be on the ground on a daily basis and is working very closely with the team, trying to get up to speed. He's been with us now for a month. So welcome, Colin, and I will turn it over now to Sam.
So we are very thankful to have another team member because we got lots of stuff for him to do. We might not get any other special projects. I just want to let you guys know, so the question period ended Sunday. We got hammered with about 20 questions over the weekend, so we're working through those. It's not uncommon to have questions, that many questions on an RFP of this magnitude. None of them were earth-shattering for us, so that was good. And we'll have those out by the end of the week. And then November 13th is the big day. It is a Sunday. I will be uploading, thanks to Emily, through a link instead of having to email, because these proposals will be large. So I'm pretty excited about that whole process there. And she's also helped me get large files, like the AutoCAD files for the entire harbor up so they can access them. That's been super great. Other than that, we're just working on the grants agreement. Had a meeting with MARAD on Friday. We got our pre-authorization, which is good, which means that the money we're spending now will go to our non-federal match. Very important. And then we should get credit for it. We also tentatively filled in the grant agreement. We have to, finalize our start and end dates with proposals once we have a selected team. The EA, TES, all the environmental stuff is supposed to go up today to MARAD. That's a huge step. That's awesome. That will probably take months for review on their side, so we need to get that going in the IHA, which are the take for, not literal take, just we're going to bother them, take for the seals, sea otters. There's all the animals are listed, but we're only taking take for those. So that'll work once that, EA is approved, then those IHAs will be put into place. They'll still have to go through an application process, but it's basically the same application that we're putting in through the EIS, not EIS, EA. There's so many acronyms. So other than that, and we're just cranking along. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
So, calling on board, what's your process for having an inspector? Are we bringing somebody in, or is it Colin? Is it?
Colin is our on-ground inspector. He'll be working with Mark every day through technology, same time, whatever works the best.
He'll be out there.
He's on the ground. He's the man on the ground. I'll be starting to do some more of the financial side of it. So he's going to be busy and cold.
Yeah. Any other questions for Sam? Thank you, Sam.
The next part of my report, there is a financial report on page 34. It is through the end of September. We're heading into the final quarter. I'm tracking very, very closely with how our expenses and our revenue are coming in. Of note, on the revenue side, property tax and sales tax wouldn't hit until the October month, so don't be alarmed with those big gaps there yet. Those won't be showing on our financial statement until the October statement. But I've been looking at this closely, working with departments on their budgets and starting in person next week. But we're well on our way to kind of figuring out where we're going to end up and how we are going to manage our 2023 already fiscal year. Any questions?
Councilman Bailey?
Yeah, I see they're moving forward with the RFP for the finance for these funds. So how is that work? What are we going to do there?
We're going to see what firms respond, and then we'll have something to present to you all as at council. I think our biggest concerns always with these kinds of contracts is the amount of dedicated time that they'll spend working directly with us, rather than just putting out quarterly statements. That will be a big part of the selection process. Capacity, how many clients, the kind of assets that are under review, those sorts of things. I can get you the selection process in the RFP. If you want to take a look at that, I'll put that, make sure all of you have access to that.
So, who's going to make the recommendations? Council going to be part of that process, or do you have yourself and others? Or
we have a team, but if a council member would like to be a participant in that, I don't think there's any reason. I think at the most we might have 2 or 3 respondents. We're not a large fund. It's harder to attract some of the investment houses, but there are 2 that have expressed interest.
and the other part of that the council discussed too was taking another look at our investment plan or policy. And I know they even UBS said that should be looked at, and that we never followed through with that process. That was like 2 or 3 years ago even. They said, well, we're hamstrung by the way. So hopefully that's going to be part of this process too. Maybe that's a discussion once we select somebody with their expertise, maybe working with us.
Yeah, and I did, last spring, I did reach out to some folks that are in the business of making sure that assets are well invested for other entities, and have them review our financial, our investment policy. And they felt it was really strong and tight, but I didn't bring it to the next step, which is to have you guys review it again. So at this moment in time, we have had experts look at it, and there have been no real strong recommendations. There's 2 minor tweaks, and I can get that to you. Probably be realistic in first quarter of 2020.
Yeah, strong and tight. It's just a matter of how much risk are we willing to take. The other issue was and it come up because of the harbor job coming up, and one of the contractors was kind of doing due diligence looking for housing. So I brought back the question, which I never really fully understood the answer. Can somebody like that come in and book 3 or 4 months worth of rooms, pay with one check, and be under the tax cap that way? Or okay, so that's really never clear to me.
Yeah. So, and just, I know that the issue of our tax code has come up more than once. There were local vendors who were concerned about how the tax code worked and when to apply and how to do it and what exemptions and this and that. And apparently, when we applied to work with Alaska, the Municipal League with their remote sales tax program, they made strong recommendations that our sales tax code was kind of messy and hadn't been looked at even longer than our investment policy has been looked at. So I am putting in the budget next year for complete revamp, renew of our sales tax code to make sure that it is contemporary with the practices that we need here in cities. So you'll see that as a budget line item. And in order to make some of these changes, we have to make sure that the code is legally changed and is reflective of what we want. So that will be a good process next year.
That's good. So moving forward, anybody that's looking to get this job in their housing, people don't have to tax cap. Good. That's all I have.
Any other questions for the manager? Online? Okay, city clerk's report.
On the calendar, you'll see that Monday, the 24th, starts the early voting here at the Cordova Center, just like usual, the 2 weeks before. I've been getting a lot of questions about that, and anybody can also go to the state website. It's real easy to apply for absentee ballots to be mailed to you and stuff. Or they can call the office here and we can help you through that also. The boards and commissions we were going to appoint December 7th, so November 30th is the deadline. I might put November 29th as the deadline. And I have a few, any of the ones you've gotten, I imagine, you know I've gotten as well. And Emily's helping with that also because she does some of the advertising and put it up on the website. I'm going to get with her about refreshing that ad so that it keeps coming around because since it's such a long-term, open for people to put in. And then, I still haven't heard from anyone if they're interested in AML, and they changed the dates, and it's in December now instead. So, if anybody's interested, go look at their stuff they have up, I guess, and we'll.
Where was it at? Was it in Anchorage?
It is in Anchorage, and they've changed locations too. So they're not at the Captain Cook. I think they're at the Design Center, that big building downtown. And anyway, I was thinking about it also because I was putting together a budget for Helen for the city council budget for next year, and we haven't spent any money in travel in the last couple of years, probably COVID related or whatever, but I'm going to put some funds in there this year. Hopefully, a few of you guys will want to go. So I'm willing to help with any of it if anybody wants to. Let me know. Then that's all I have to report.
Questions for the clerk?
Yeah, I guess comment as far as the funds for traveling. I've always thought personally that bringing people to train in where everybody could attend was always a better value. That's something the mayor and council would talk about, but I would consider that bringing somebody in.
Questions for the clerk? Okay, we did several staff quarterly reports. Thank you for those reports. Any questions on any of those reports?
I do, and I didn't come with a question for the harbor master. There was at the last meeting when we discussed the building lease down there, and there was a discussion about another piece of equipment, and it went right over my head. I didn't know anything about it. You know what? We're trying to. Sorry, I could have called, but I just have to move your notes.
That's okay. So we are considering purchasing a mobile trailer, which this trailer, as you lift the boat out of the water with the travel lift, you place it on the trailer, and then the trailer goes, brings it to where it's going to get blocked and stored. That allows us to stack everything a lot closer. So right now you've got to have 20 feet to the next boat from center line, or depending on the width of the boat. This way you can park that right in, trailer, put it on stands, and just pull the trailer out. And I'm guessing it's going to double our capacity there and make hauling boats more efficient. We'll be able to, right now we can usually haul one boat per high tide, because we got to go over and then we got to block it with the travel lift and getting back. This way we put it on the trailer and pick the next boat. But giving us the room to move boats out of the South Harbor is the big part of it right now.
What piece of equipment would you use to pull the trailer with?
It's self-propelled.
Oh, it's self-propelled.
Yeah, it's all remote control. It's got a diesel engine on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh. So. All right. Well, thank you.
I'm working on a resolution for you, for the city manager to bring you. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the reports? Hearing none, then we'll move on to correspondence. The two letters there. Okay, moving on then to ordinances and resolutions. We moved item 6. Here, resolution 10-22-29, a resolution of the council of the city of Cordova, Alaska, authorizing the conveyance of an approximately 4,400 square foot portion of ATS 220 to Jeffrey Gard and Lauren Oxhurst.
Second.
Baylor, second to Sherman. Councilmember Baylor? Now we discussed this, I support it. Oh, Sherman?
Yeah, same reasons, we discussed it at length and decided that, that was the best use for this property.
Councilmember Meyer?
No additional comment.
Councilmember Schaefer?
She's not here.
Not here. Councilmember Carpenter?
No additional comments.
And Jones is not here as well. Correct. Okay. Well, that's easy enough. Is this a roll call? Voice.
It can be a voice vote.
Voice vote. Okay, all in favor of resolution 10-22-29, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, can I just say there was a typo on the spelling of a name in the resolution, so I will edit that before it becomes a permanent record.
Okay. Thank you. All unfinished business. No miscellaneous business. We got our pending agenda. What do we got from the pending agenda? The budget workshops?
Yes. Helen wants to do the first one per the schedule she had given you a few meetings ago on the 26th, a week from today, which is a Wednesday. I've asked about this room and it's available. It can be noon, it can be 5, 6, 7, whatever time council wants. I did ask the two who are not in attendance. Ann Schaefer did not answer. Ken Jones said he'd be on the phone, and noon worked better for him, but I told him we'd see what the room was.
What's your pleasure?
I like 6, but I'm flexible.
I'll go with whatever everybody decides.
I'm easy too. How about you, Meyer?
Are we talking about a Wednesday?
Yes, next Wednesday.
Yeah, noon works better for me, but I 6 also can work.
Oh, it's the 28th, sorry.
28th, next Wednesday. Councilmember Carpenter?
No, next Wednesday.
No, that's 26th.
Next Wednesday is the 26th.
Okay.
Yeah, 26th, whatever Wednesday is.
Do I have a problem on that calendar?
That's not every calendar.
Yeah, I don't think I have a time preference. I can, what the group decides.
Well, it sounded like it was either noon or nobody cared. The only people that had a preference was, oh, you had it at 6 o'clock, yeah? What's the staff's pleasure? How long are you gonna need?
It will not take more than an hour, probably less.
Let's do noon.
Let's do noon? Noon sound good? Any objection? Noon it is. Always staff doesn't have to come in too, so.
Okay, noon on the 26th.
Yep. What else we got on the pending agenda?
I don't. Unless, well, I haven't, your RFP for investment, you think will be on the December 7th? Maybe I'll just add that to the next.
Possibly, yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
Anybody have anything you want to put on the next agenda? Or the pending agenda?
I don't know about the next agenda, but I'd like to, visit bear issues after the first of the year when things settle down. I think it behooves us to get ahead of it instead of waiting for right before the season when the bears show up to figure out anything new or better we might want to do.
Yeah. I think actually during budget time might be a good time too if we're talking about possible bear-proof containers or anything like that that we're going to require that should be discussed at the budget. But yeah.
I don't know that any of the ideas I had were going as far as acquiring new bear-proof containers, but whatever anybody wants, but I think it would behoove us to talk about it earlier than later.
Is that one of the items on the pending agenda already?
I have where in May each year, we're going to ensure that we start with public outreach. But if you're wanting to have a council discussion again, that's a different story, so want me to put that on without a specific date?
What's your pleasure, Councilmember Gard?
I'd like to have a discussion of some new ideas, you know, something after the first of the year, January, February.
Okay, so just put it on the pending agenda, council discussion on their issue.
Okay.
January, February, first quarter. Hey, anything else on the pending agenda? Want to pull anything off of there? Want to put anything on the agenda? Okay, we will think of things to add as time goes on, I guess. The CIP list, when do we officially have to submit that? When do we usually submit that to the legislature? In first of the year?
I would say, yeah, you know, about the time the session gets rolling.
Do we need to submit something? Do we usually submit that to the governor before he puts his budget out in December? Doesn't he usually put his out in December?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
I think the governor's budget comes out the middle of December usually. It's well before the legislature starts anyway, so it's on every agenda, right?
It's the existing one is on every agenda, but if anybody wants to put one on with a new number, for discussion and possible reordering.
Well, let's
or
put it this way, this one will be submitted unless
Correct.
we change it prior to that date, so.
Yeah.
We can look at that again at the next meeting or two. And we already said, the clerk said we're seeking applicants for our open positions on boards and commissions. Okay, last chance, last call for pending agenda stuff. Okay. Hearing none, then we'll move along to audience participation. Anybody in the audience come on up?
Meeting is going too quick here, so
Yeah.
slow it down.
Yeah.
Robert Beal, 609 Summer Street. Just a couple things I didn't mention, I forgot to there. So, one of the projects that RCAC was working on, we got approved. Finishing of it will be putting a weather station on the Cordova off the Copper River. It's huge, the weather, east and west side of the Copper, so to be efficient, that's huge. I just want to get it out in another form to get out. And then something we're working on, we're told LASCO will commit to it, but we're trying to get rid of the CDs and hopefully the FRS radio, the family resource service. Family resource radio. They're just a little too handheld, way better than CDs. And then a quick thing is I went out this morning, looked up, and my street light was gone. Oh gosh, didn't see nothing. It gets dark there, bears, got kids on it, shooting stuff. I started making phone calls, told to call the city. I did, and Sam got hold of me, explained what was going on with water damage, the river drain. So the sky wasn't falling. And just thank you for being on it and make it better. So just another lesson for me to find out what's going on first. So thank you all.
That's good. Thank you, Robert.
I want to know what's going on. But yes.
Hey, any other audience participation? It's all staff out there, but your community members too, so feel free. Okay, council comments then. We'll move over here. Ed Schaefer was absent. Councilmember Meyer.
No additional comments. Thanks, everybody.
Vice Mayor Baylor.
No comment, thanks.
Councilmember Sherman.
No comments, but I appreciated the good report from the audit, and I think it was better, timelier than we have been doing, so I'm happy about that.
Councilmember Gard.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank staff for all the support for this, and I guess that's it. No other comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Carpenter.
Yeah, I would just thank the city staff for the work they did on the audit. It sounds like the auditor was pretty pleased with the help he got from the staff, and I think overall it seemed like a pretty good audit, so thank you for that. Thanks.
Make a couple comments. Appreciate staff and congratulations to the staff on the audit during a difficult time staff-wise, and it was a nice audit, and I too was. I'm glad that it was prior to having to do the budget this year. That's much time here and gives us some real numbers to look at when we're considering our budget. So appreciate that, and all the staff reports. We don't make a lot of comments on them, and some of them are lengthy, but it's all good reading and interesting information for myself to read, and I'm sure most, if not all, of the other council members
read those and look through them and appreciate them as well. So that's it. We don't have an executive session, correct?
Correct.
Move to adjourn. So moved. Moved and seconded to adjourn. Any objection? We'll be adjourned. Thank you.